And I hit send and closed my laptop, and it didn't send, so I felt bad. We got over to St. John yesterday, and I get a text from JP, and he's like,
"Oh, this
where
is
the hell's
the beginning of the show now. Here we go."
Get those words!
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Bid Nerds. It's your daily nerd out on the most interesting cars of the day on all the automotive enthusiast auction sites like Rad For Sale, PCAR Market, Bring a Trailer, and Cars and Bids. My name is John Polnik, along with my partner, Michael Deeb, who is here from some island, Epstein Island or something like that.
Yeah, really
That's
close.
what I heard. As well as we brought an expert today. Lane Skelton from Rad For Sale is back. We thought we'd get some expertise in here. And we're going to go ahead and do a show. We thought that Michael Deeb was going to be spending all his time on that island doing all kinds of whatever craziness that he does down there. But apparently he's going to bring his expertise to the show, even though he's not an expert, unlike Lane. This is the show where we...
Don't claim that. I don't think I did too well yesterday. So.
Lane is one of the founders of Radwood, as well as Rad For Sale, the newest auction site on the auction block. Lane, why don't you take a minute to tell us about Rad For Sale? What's the deal with Rad For Sale?
Rad For Sale is an auction site, like all these other auction sites, but it caters to cars from 1980 to 1999, which we coined the Radwood era, and that's kind of become a thing. And we have a really strong cult-like following for Radwood, and people go to our message boards, or I guess not message boards, but Facebook groups, and they're go to our shows and all this. So we figured, why not give them a place to sell these cars and trade these cars with one another. So we started an auction site. We're doing that.
Who
And it's not just
with...
cars, it's paraphernalia too, right? Because guys that go to Radwood dressed in a part, there's boom boxes and old cell phones and old car stereos there, and all that stuff will eventually be available on your site.
Exactly.
Right?
We've done a little bit of that. We've done a little bit of that stuff, but we're going to do stereos, like you said, really cool, like Macintosh car stereos or something like that. So,
oh my God.
Getting into all that stuff too. And then we're open to like starter jackets and stuff that you would wear at a Radwood.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
Hey, who started the term young timers? Is that a term that you're familiar with?
Yeah.
From Europe, no?
Yeah, it's I believe it's a British thing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty big.
Yeah, British car dealerships, if I may, that sell older cars are the British have a nickname for everything in the universe, and so they call them old timers. And I think old timers really predates to like either pre-World War II or
young timers.
No.
I know.
Okay, sorry.
Or post-World War II. So now this new era of collectible cars that does sweep into it rises into the Radwood era are the young timers. But like I think 70s cars are also included in the young timers. Am I right? Like early Alpina BMWs would be considered a young timer, and that might be like a 79 or something like that.
I think you're right. I know I've seen a lot of 944s as young timers, like Peabody Carreras.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the cutoff is, but I'm not sure if like a 914, for example, is a young timer. That's like a weird one, right? Like started in 70, 69.
It's certainly a nickname that probably originated in the UK. I would say that Lane is probably right. I would bet on that. I would double down on Lane's take. And then RM Sotheby's got a whole huge collection of cars that they spread out over 3 different auctions over the course of a year, like 2 years ago. And they called it the Young Timer Collection because all the cars were part of that era. So now this nickname has been taken to market. So now it's going to become like a marketing term. But yeah, I think I do believe that it originated. It wouldn't surprise me. If
it just sounds like the typical a bunch of boomers went around and they're like, okay, we used to call old cars old timers, but these cars aren't old. They're still brand new. Oh, I know. We'll be clever and call it young timers. Oh, God,
Euro boomers. Euro boomers, though.
It's
It
grating
also
to
doesn't
me,
give
yeah.
any. It also doesn't give any room for the future.
Right?
So what's a 2005 car? What's a
Back to the
2010?
Future timers.
Yeah, what is that called, right?
Yeah, the boomers will be
Uh,
gone. They
I-
won't
I-
screw that up. It'll be our job at that point.
I did go to one of those RM Sotheby's auctions in Florida and saw a bunch of those cars for auction, and it was pretty cool. Pretty cool collection. Bunch of AMG, like crazy AMG stuff. Wide
Absolutely,
body.
yeah. SECs and stuff like that,
Uh-huh.
right? 560 SEC, those cars.
Yeah.
Sounds like a term that PCAR Market would use because, boy, talking about abject failures. Yesterday, PCAR Market had a shot to really put themselves on the map and kind of smack down the naysayers like myself, and they did not. They really screwed the pooch as far as I'm concerned yesterday. Yesterday, we saw one of the first Porsche singers to come on the auction block ever, and that just didn't go well. Michael Deeb, did you get a chance to watch this?
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys, I think you guys did a really good job. This 1992 Porsche 911 Carrera 2 is a singer, and Lane, you were all over it. I actually went to the singer site and tried to find their gallery to try to discover which singer this was, and I could not find it. I absolutely couldn't find it. So I couldn't find out where essentially the client, whatever city of origin he's in, is what that car will be nicknamed, and that name will forever be tied to that car. The fact that PCAR Market didn't bring that name forward and use that as part of the marketing campaign for this car is a massive failure on their part. And I think you guys were all over it yesterday when you reviewed it. I thought you did a really good job with that because that's something I would have hammered home. You guys are going to try and sell a singer online, and you can't even tell us who the original owner was. I came in low on this car because of I thought the orange interior would be polarizing even for the billionaire set. And I thought that the 6 owners and then the lack of provenance, not knowing where the city of origin is for this car, I thought those things would hold it back. So while I think you guys did a great job covering the car and talking about how amazing it is and the fact that, at least a certain amount of these people that are buying these cars or ordering these cars are out there driving them, which is really great. I love listening to you guys talk about different experiences being on the road behind these things. All really neat information. But my bid came in way under you guys. I really thought this one was going to struggle. So I came in at 850,000. JP, you took the over after Lane said $1 million even, and you went to essentially $1.1 million at $1,964,000. Our car made it to $1,016,288,000 and failed to sell and wound up in the deal tank at $1,125,000, or what, if I'm doing the math right, about $108,000 away from selling.
Wow.
That seems pretty close.
Yeah.
So one would think that the guys at the dealership they call PCAR Market will be on the phone overnight to the underbidders and trying to make a deal. I'd also be grinding the consignor and telling them to concede. Say, look, we've got guys that are in here over $1 million. That's all the money for your car. You should take it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens if that car comes off. And one would think that it did eventually sell. It'd be worth watching.
Lane, do you think this car would have sold for more on BAT? Because I sure do.
I don't know. I think my opinion stands. I think, you know what? I do. I think I don't know. If you're going to deal with this car, you would think you would, me being BAT or being wrapped with a car like this, I would send a professional photographer out to take pictures of the car if they weren't good enough. So I would do better photos. I would do tons of video. I would definitely say which car this is. That's like a big thing. Like that's like part of the lore of these cars. And I think that's a huge missing thing. So I think you could represent this car a lot better. And I do think, I'm guessing BAT would probably have done that. So it probably would have done better. But I still kind of think that the market is the market for this, and people
I don't know, guys. Look, something like this. You're right. You said that everyone's going to know that this car's for sale, and I still come across people that have never heard of PCAR Market and go, oh, that's interesting. And look, So a car like this, you're absolutely right as well that PCAR, or not PCAR Market, but BAT would have gone the extra mile to make this car work. And as the owner of a car of something, basically $1 million car, if you're the consignor of this car, so you're the person that's selling it, do you really want a bunch of used car sales guys going out there and bothering $1 million car buyers trying to get them to bump? I mean, what is he going to do? Throw in undercoating or some floor mats and stuff? I mean, that is such a used car sleazeball thing that PCAR Market does, and I hate the deal tank. I know that they sell cars out of there, but that is just so scummy to me. And to put a Singer in that type of environment, why would you slime up your Singer? Yuck. Guys at PCAR Market.
If they don't make the deal, or even if they do, and they make the deal in 5 days from now, and it's a quiet deal, nobody really notices. All the collectors that were watching this Singer come to market on PCAR Market saw that it failed to sell. So this car's got, in my opinion, this car's carrying a scarlet letter for the next several years as the car that failed to sell in an online auction place, especially by like $100,000. Less than 10% at $1,125,000. So that's pretty weak. I don't know. I think I agree with you, JP. It was a mistake for the consignor to put it on PCAR Market. This should have gone to BAT. This car really should have gone to RM or one of those other places. So I don't know. As an experiment, I think it's going to hurt the guy.
I mean, the consignor obviously made a bunch of mistakes, not representing the car well, really.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like they should have called out all these things and said like, well, I want to do this. I want to add better pictures. I want to, and you're selling a car for over $1 million. Like pay someone good money to take pictures.
Yeah. Don't cheap out. You'll wind up being a fail to sell. So PCAR Market, fail. Consignor, fail. A lot of fail going on with this poor, beautiful Singer that we all would love to own.
Although it did get over $1 million in bids. That's
I know.
It's like, we can't give it if that's a bad. Like that's a scar. That's a pretty good scar to have, dude.
Is it though? I mean, that's the problem is it's such a huge, gaping, open, bleeding, nasty scar that everyone notices it. It's like I want the scar from when I nicked my ankle on my bicycle chain or something when I was a kid. I don't want one when I accidentally cut my face off with a chainsaw. I mean, that's what this scar is. This is.
I guess we don't know what the market is for these, right? There isn't a market, so
nobody wants a Singer.
What does that really mean?
JP, all right. Let's go. PCAR Market had another 911 to sell yesterday. It was a 1997 911 C2 Coupe. This is basically a 993 Coupe in what I actually think is paint to sample pastel yellow. I don't think pastel yellow was a range color that year. So I believe if I read the ad correctly, it was paint to sample. What also the car had going on for it, it had limited slip differential and the torque vectoring, the brake torque thing. Somebody help me out with that. You know what I'm talking about, Lane?
Yeah.
It had that option, and it also had motor sound package. By all accounts, JP, shy of the sports seats, this was a manual car that was obviously ordered by a driver. Paint to sample and those three things would make this car, arguably a better driving 911 car than most of the other ones that were out there. Lane, your eyes were really good yesterday. This car did have its leather seats redone. At 60 or 70,000 miles on the odometer, it begs to understand, why would you have to have the seats reupholstered? That doesn't make any sense at all. Like, what's wrong with a little patina on your all-black interior? So I think that's kind of a bummer that it was on there. But coupes are hard to find. And so the question becomes then, is this car, much like the Singer, on the wrong platform? Would this car have brought JP's $95,000 if it had been on BAT? And JP, I think your bid would have held some water if it were on a different platform. But Lane, you and I were really close. My bid was 79 and yours was 78. JP, you were the high man at $95,000. This car sold yesterday, but for just $71,000. So Lane, you're the winner on that one. I came close, 1,000 behind you. But man, that's a low reserve if that car got let go for $71,000. What was the consignor thinking? I think that car is worth 85, 90 grand minimum in the condition it's in with the equipment that's on it. So what do you guys think?
Absolutely. Lane, what do you think?
I don't know. I guess I'm not into the 993 market. So I still think of cars.
Well, I tell you what,
2 years ago values. It's crazy to me, but I think that now that you say it's it's pastel, like a 95 color or something.
It could have been. It could have been a color of the year before, but it was paint to sample that
year. This is a 97,
right?
This is a later.
Yes, 97. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of 993s in this color, so I'm still kind of curious about the paint to sample thing, and if it's one year or the other, I'm sure that's probably true.
They might have had multiple yellows. I know we sold a 96 that was racing yellow, that was a 96 93 cab, and remember I sold that car to Pittsburgh, and the guy was a Steelers fan, put a Steelers sticker on it, and matched right in. It was beautiful.
Yeah, but this pastel color is pretty common on 993s. Again, I don't know, maybe not on this particular year, so it may have been paint to sample that year. That said, this is again a huge freaking fail on PCAR Markets. They put a post on Instagram yesterday saying, "Congratulations to the seller, for selling this car. Oh yeah, so please don't notice that we failed to sell the Singer. And this car only brings 71. This car definitely would have broken 80 grand on BAT. I mean, we've seen them go for more than that with this many miles or more. And then not only that, I've seen Targas and convertibles going in the near 70 grand range. So for a coupe not to get this kind of money, this is hubris on PCAR Markets case again. They're sitting there going, oh, patting ourselves on the back. We got $70,000 on this car. And the poor consigner basically left 20 grand on the table.
At least 15,000 on the table. Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Do you guys think the color is a little polarizing maybe? I mean, does that have something to do with it? I mean, yellow is not for everyone.
It's not. It's not. But it also holds its value better than anything else.
It is rare, right?
So, yellow cars hold their value better than others. The guys who want them will pay big money for them. It's certainly a Miami car, but whatever.
And this thing's all stock too. I mean, the Cup one. I mean, other than the seats, this thing's ready to go for someone to do whatever the heck they want. It's either a Blake campus to leave alone or go nuts. I mean,
I'm sure they painted the bumpers on that thing, but again, none of that stuff would bother me. As a driver with 70,000 miles, I would love to have that car. And of the three of us, I'm probably the one that likes that one the most. I would be fine with pastel yellow. I got no problem with that color.
The right wheels and the right height in this car is absolutely fantastic. But all right,
LSD is rad too. I mean, it has
absolutely
and that torque vectoring, whatever
brake torque vectoring thing, whatever it is. Yeah, I don't know, but it was a performance option. All right, let's jump over to BAT. We looked at that 1988 E28 BMW M5. It did have quite a few miles on them, but these cars are collector cars. They just have been going through the roof. It's hard to find one that hasn't been massaged. One thing you guys didn't quite pick up on, this car also had its seats reupholstered, but that is super common in these cars. These beige seats, whatever the leather is, they don't hold up well. And once these cars hit 80 to 100,000 miles, that driver's seat is usually looking pretty dogged. So cars that are over 100,000 miles, it's really common to see them with reupholstered seats, and the collector market seems to accept that, even though the leather will look brand new and not match the rest of the interior. That being said, the rest of this car was pretty stock. It looked to be in pretty decent condition. It's had a few owners, but they still bring all the money. You guys were really just kind of in the wrong segment. I wish I was on there with you. JP said 36. Lane took the under at 35. My bid came in at 55, and the car sold for 57,100. Now, I wasn't on the show, but I'll take the win anyways. It's the only one I got, so I don't think I was trying to sandbag you guys. We jumped back over to Bring a Trailer and looked at the 1997 Ferrari 355 GTS. I thought it was relevant to mention that this is a European market car that was brought over. It's on a U.S. title, and you guys didn't pick that up. And rightly, you guys were vindicated for not picking that up because it didn't seem to matter. The price reflected it for what it was, and that was a gated GTS 355 with relatively current service. The last major belt service was in 2019, just a couple of years ago. Chances are all that stuff on there is still looking pretty new. What else can I tell you? While they were in there, they did everything. So like this car, I think, got a clutch and all sorts of ancillary pieces. So that major service was probably big bucks. It wasn't a $12,000 one. It was probably a $25,000 one. Anyway, the color is great. The car is nice. The miles were fair at 50,000. Lane, you and I landed on the same number at 130. JP took the over at 140, and our car brought a whopping $150,500 despite being a Euro example. And I really would have thought that the 20 grand between the selling price and me and Lane's bid would have been reflected in the fact that it was a European model car. And the collector market was like, nah, we're cool. That 150 is fine. That car got bid up and sold at that price. JP, you got your second win of the day.
This ain't a collector car. This is a driver car. That's what's
You
great
will
about
drive
it.
a car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
$150,000 for something like this. I mean, what else do you get for that price these days? If you want something with, you know, an F badge on it and a gated, that's it. You got to pay that.
Yeah.
Sorry. And if it didn't have that title, do you think this thing would have gone 170 or more?
Yeah, well.
Yeah, or not title, but if it was an American car.
If it was an American car, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you think so? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
like
one thing I will say is I think this is making the service intervals and, you know, the whole engine out service less of a thing with the prices being this high of the cars. This is like the old E30 M3 thing back in the day when they were 12 grand. You're like, that's a $12,000 motor. So with this, it's like it's making it irrelevant because it's such a small percentage of the value of the car that now the car just has room to skyrocket even more.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing. On American cars, the Coupes and the GTSs with lower miles than this are now $180,000 cars, right? So, you know, a 30,000, 25,000 mile example is $175,000 to $185,000 car. What's interesting is the full convertibles, the Spiders, are still languishing closer to $100,000. A year ago, they were still $80,000 cars. I think today they're $100,000, maybe $110,000 cars. But there is a major delta between Coupes and GTSs down to Spiders. And that's really weird because with almost every other brand, Spiders bring good money, maybe save for Porsche. But like a Mercedes convertible will always bring more than a Mercedes Coupe. And yet here with Ferrari and with Porsche, convertibles aren't as desirable and they don't bring the same kind of money. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but anyway, there you go. That was my last bit. All right, last chance I get to play expert because then we ran into this 1983 Volkswagen VW Adventure Wagon with a manual transmission and a replacement 1.9 liter flat four, water cooled. I really don't understand the market on these cars. Being that it was a conversion to an adventure wagon and that it was a replacement motor and still, you know, close to $200,000 and two-wheel drive and water cool and whatever, I thought this car would come in at 12 grand. JP said 19 and Lane said 16. Thank you, Lane, for making me look like I'm not losing my mind. Anyway, the car sold for $23,000. JP got the win. So, JP, you tallied 3. I got 1, and Lane got 1. So there you go. That's a day.
An air-cooled car with a aftermarket top. I mean, no, it has a water-cooled engine.
Water-cooled motor, yeah.
It's a air-cooled base.
So they replaced it with a water-cooled motor. Was that air-cooled?
No, I think 83 is the first year of the water pumpers. Because yeah, I'm pretty sure it
headlight
was.
83. I thought it was still air-cooled. Anyways,
I'm pretty sure they're water pumpers at this point. It doesn't matter that this stuff is aftermarket on these things because they're totally utilitarian. This is so not a collector car. This is all about will it work? Does it function? The factory did make these goofy tops. Now, if you had an original one of these, I think what do they call them? Combi tops or something like that? Yeah, whatever. The factory, did actually make these. They're very, very rare. And if you had a clean one of those with low miles, that would absolutely be a collector rig. But when you're talking in this under $30,000 range, and Michael Deeb just lost his camera there. I guess the feds just came to bust him for trying to set up Epstein Island there. People just want them to work. The fact that this one, the stove worked and the water worked and all that kind of stuff, I think, anyways. But moving on, let's get to today's cars because, we spent some time on yesterday's cars because that's what we do. We go over our bids from the day before and prove to everyone just how wrong we are generally. We don't know what we're talking about. And Lane, thank you for sitting in for Deeb yesterday. That was very helpful.
Thank you, Lane. You guys did great too, by the way.
Now we can go on to today's cars and really show that we don't know what we're talking about on the cars that we picked for you. But before we do that, make sure you go over and click on that subscribe button if you haven't already, as well as the notifications buttons. And make sure you give us some comments down there. Let us know what you think of our bids. Tell us how wrong we are. We'd love to hear from you guys. And also let us know if there's a car that you'd like us to review because we love to review cars from our audience suggestions. All right, so you've already hit that notification button. It's time to move on to today's cars. We're going to start out with, we're really talking a lot about PCAR market and their failures. This one right here, is this going to be, I mean, another pastel yellow car on PCAR market, but it's not a PCAR. What is this thing, Michael Deeb? What are we looking at?
Oh, dude, this is Radwood royalty, I think. I'm interested to see what Lane says about this. I think we looked at one with Lane before, but this one is really special. It's a 1990 Nissan 300ZX twin turbo in yellow with a 5-speed manual and just 7,000 original miles. This is sure to be a very special car. The question is it on the wrong platform? And I can't help, my knee-jerk reaction is absolutely it's on the wrong platform. This just seems like it'd be the wrong audience for that. I think this car could bring, big money if it were elsewhere, and I think it's going to struggle on here. I don't know. Lane, you probably know these cars better than I have. I've never even driven one. My cousin had a convertible non-turbo with an automatic, and we had a blast in that car, and that was like the most boring version on this platform. But this is a serious performer. Take it away. Limited slip differential, nice top, cool 16-inch wheels, Brembo brakes. What do you got?
Dude, I've never driven one either. I mean, they're
really
cool. Yeah, I know they're a kind of a mess under the hood. I know some people that have owned them, and they said they're like basically the hardest car you could ever work on. But
interesting.
That being said, this thing is really cool. Super low miles. The cloth interior is so neat too. That's super. You never see that, and it's fully stock. Look at that with the car phone and everything. I mean, this is a big money car for sure.
When these came out, hold on. When these came out back in 1990, I was working. I was a lot punk on a Nissan, Porsche, Volkswagen dealership. So I literally got to drive the first one in Washington State. And I'm a 19-year-old idiot driving this thing around. And I don't know, Deeb, I don't know if you remember, but it was such a big deal that this car was a 6-cylinder with 300 horsepower. That was like all these Hellcats with 800 horsepower or whatever. It was that big a deal. People could not shut up about the fact that it had 3 and 2 zeros in front of the HP. And Lane, you're absolutely right. It's a 6-hour job just to change the spark plugs on them. The service department was just talking about how much money they were going to make off of these dang things in the back of the house. The dealership loved to sell them, and they sold them like hotcakes. These cars drive amazingly. And I think one of the things about this car is it's one of those cars that was like really one of the first cars of a new era. Everything before this felt like an 80s or 70s or 70s car that was broken into the 80s or like, I don't know, Michael Deeb's camera stand there. He keeps dropping it. It's kind of funny. You guys didn't get to see that. But no, these cars hold up. If you drive one of these today, one in this kind of condition, I would imagine would really feel pretty modern. Compared to just about anything else from 1990, anything else that was designed in 1989. So I absolutely love these cars. I've never owned one. I've always wanted one, and this is certainly one that I'd love to get. But boy, with 7,000 miles, what kind of numbers do we think this is going to bring? Let's talk about platforms and where it's at. What do you think, Deeb?
Right. Well, so just a couple of things about the way this car was built too. I remember that it had adjustable suspension, but I forgot that these had 4-wheel steering. Do you remember that, JP?
Do they? Not on this. Not on the early one.
That's what this ad says. It has 4-wheel steering. It has high capacity axle controlled suspension. HICUS.
Yeah.
That is not 4-wheel steering though.
Yeah, it is. It's a form of 4-wheel steering, same as like an R32 Skyline has.
Okay.
So HICUS, it's the rear. It's active rear suspension, I believe. It's not,
it does make some sense.
That's passive, This is an active rear.
The 240Zs had that a little later, like in like 93. I don't remember the 300Zs having that. That's crazy.
I didn't remember these having it either, but if it says it has HICUS, that's what that is. That's
it does.
An R32.
Yeah. Huh. So that was anyway, that was written here, and again, I don't think I was quite aware of that back in the period because I would have stored it in this useless plethora.
I don't think they called it 4-wheel steering back then. I think whatever they called it, I just don't think they branded it as that, because when the 240 came out and they did have that as an option, they made a big deal out of it because what was the Prelude was the other one, the late Preludes.
Prelude had it, yeah.
And they made a big deal. It said 4WS and stuff, yeah.
Yep. That was in the late 80s, and but you think about the R32 Skylines, it's not written anywhere on that thing either, and that's one of the things. Everyone that buys those, they they deactivate the rear wheel steering because it's a little weird on the early cars like of this era. So one thing I would say, these cars were filled with technology like this. And the Mitsubishi 3000 GT was a competitor of this, and they had active aero and stuff, and RX-7 was part of that crew, and then obviously the Supra, the Mark IV Supra, and this was like Japanese just coming in and taking over and making the 968 look like an expensive slow car.
Well, the 968 wasn't even out yet, but the 964s were, and they were the contemporary to this. And people were like, "Man, a 964 is twice as much as one of these." I'll take. Actually,
968 came out in '92, but that was a big in all the magazine tests. It was those 4 cars: 968, RX-7. So it was like when you look at like the '93 car and driver tests. It's the RX-7, the 300ZX, the Supra, and the 968 and the 3000 GT or Dodge Stealth Turbo.
Yeah. Well, guys, where do we think this is going to land? What do you think, Michael B? You go first.
We're betting platform here, JP, and I think this is a mistake that this car is here. So our car is sitting at, John, it's sitting at $27,000 with 3 hours to go out of Miami, Florida. I think that on PCAR market, this car will reach $45,000, but I don't know if it'll sell there because I think this car would be worth $60,000 maybe. With this low miles and the equipment that's on there, this unusual colorway, I think this would be a $60,000 car on BAT or one of the auction houses. But on here, I think $45,000 is my bid, and I'm not confident that it'll sell. That could wind up in the deal tank for 50 or more in 3 hours from now. So we'll see what happens.
What do you think, Lane?
Dude, I was right there with you, like 55 to 60 grand. And I think this would hail on Rad For Sale, actually.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, if you look at like what we did with that Supra the other week, that was 250,000 miles and whatever.
Non-turbo,
non-turbo. This thing is like the cream of the crop. First year, right? It's a 90?
Yeah, 90.
Yeah, like super cool, dude. I mean, and that cloth interior, 7,000 miles. I mean, in reality, like how many 300ZXs are around with less than 20,000 miles,
Right.
So this could be a $80,000 car. Who knows? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
On the right platform. What do you think it's going to make on this platform, Lane?
I'm going to go on the dude, it's so low right now. It's like, are they going to have
how many hours do we got, Deeb?
3 hours.
2 hours, 50 minutes, and it's on 7 bids at $27,000.
7 bids, too. You said 45, Deeb?
I did. Just I'm betting against the platform.
Yeah. I think I'm going to take the under. I'm going to go 42.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm with you, Lane. I'm going to say 43. And park it right under Deeb. I just don't think it gets anywhere near 50. And I think it was on. If it's on BAT, it's 60. If it's on Rad For Sale, probably more. The seller really effed up. And the thing is, they're in Miami, which means they're probably from Connecticut or Long Island, where PCAR Market's used car dealership is. And some guy with a jacket and an accent got him to, hey, put that car in PCAR. And his buddy's like, PCAR, but that's for Porsches. He's like, yeah, but we sell other cars. We like other cars other than just Porsches, so why don't you sell your car over here? And that's how it went down. And now, 2 days later, the thing's for sale, and we're making fun of him for it. So,
gosh.
So all right, New Jersey.
I love that we bag on PCAR Market all the time, and yet they always have cars that we find interesting.
It's true. They do have the most. Amazing. They do contribute to the most interesting cars of the day. They just can't sell the dang things. All right, what else do we got here? Let's get off a crappy platform and try. Well, I mean, what do we think? I knew that you were picking these from afar. I knew that you were on Epstein Island, and I'm looking at the list of cars. I'm going,
he was drunk, dude.
Even when he's not around, he saddles me with these gosh darn Audis, man.
Yes.
There's nothing worse than it. I hate Audis, and you just have
you're
to
an
do
Audi
it.
hater, huh?
I thought for sure I wouldn't be on the show today, and you guys would have to talk about an Audi in my asses because JP freaking hates Audis, and this is arguably the most awful one they've ever created. What do they call this
Such
thing?
a hunk of junk.
It's a C4 platform, 1997 Audi A6 Avant Quattro with under 50,000 miles on it. Wait, there's more. This is a no reserve auction out of Fairview, Pennsylvania. This car is equipped with I hope you're all sitting down for this, 2.8-liter normally aspirated V6 with the Quattro all-wheel drive system channeled through an automatic 4-speed slush box. About the only cool thing on this car is the $3,000 pearl white paint job. This car is as ordinary as they come. This is absolutely Doug DeMuro's house. This is, where he lives and breathes and makes his money. It's just interesting to see a car like this that hasn't really been beat to hell and is low miles. My guess is this car is probably a lemon law car and it's spent its entire life at the mechanics, in the back of the mechanics garage, and that's why the owner of this car didn't put any miles on it. But it's interesting to see a car from that era come across the block where it's, well under 100,000 miles and basically looks like an as-new car. Audi did well with the series that came after this, the C5 platform for the A6. Did really well. These cars never sold very well. They were not very reliable. Expect high maintenance costs. But what you're getting is a wagon that you can drive to the mountains, drive to the beach. If it's running and it's operation, it'll get you almost anywhere. The Quattro is a bit of a marvel. Neat car to see, but not really a performance car. Just interesting to see an Audi with such low miles unused that's been in Colorado and California since new. So, Lane, what do you think of this thing?
I mean, I have a soft spot for Audis. I had an Audi 4000 Quattro as an early college student, and I loved that car. And
what color was yours?
It was like a light metallic blue with a gray leather interior. Yeah.
Yeah, I had tornado red with the Audi cloth interior, and heated seats. When nobody else had heated seats, it was the coolest car in the world. And
we had a bunch of the coupes and the Audi 4000s in my family, so I have a soft spot. And then my mom had a bunch of A4s and stuff and whatever, new cars always. But this one, it's the last year I think before it moved to the newer body style, which was a way better car. This thing's pretty. I mean, besides being a wagon and the pearl paint, it's pretty boring. Automatic, naturally aspirated 2.8 with what, like 60 horsepower or something crazy. Who knows?
And a timing belt that is about to snap at any second.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not much going for it. I do like that dash design. It's so clean.
Yeah.
It's nice. But
hey,
Deeb, the engine swung way over the front wheels, obviously.
Yeah.
Deeb, I think you were looking at the photos on a phone or something like that. You need to get your glasses. This car is in terrible condition. It's some used car. No, I'm not even kidding. It's really bad. I mean, what, Lane, you said something the other day. I'd never heard the term. You described the supple leather of a 996 as ball sack leather. And this is beige to go with it. And this, and it just looks like they, it's on a used car lot, near Shamokin, the dumbest place in America.
Awful pictures.
And terrible photos.
Showroom
it's dusty.
photos,
It's just had a bad detail. You can just smell how musty and gross this car is. This is a piece of crap used car with horrible piece of crap photos on a piece of crap platform that doesn't force their sellers to take good pictures. Doug DeMuro, you have an opportunity and you are missing it. He could be owning it.
The HDR is pretty bad too on those exterior. They're like HDR photos, and a few of them. It looks so bad.
It's and there's this clear coat is failing in spots, and I mean this is just a piece of crap used car. They and as much of an Audi hater as I am, I do kind of like Audis. I mean I especially the old ones of this era.
That looks blotchy, huh?
What's that?
The paint on that one picture, it looks super blotchy.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
This car. Yeah.
This thing's junk. Just absolutely junk.
And JP, I was looking at the photos on my laptop and my phone.
Yeah, you're on vacation, man. You got vacation needs. We got it.
We're staring at it, and the bumpers are shot on both sides. Yeah. It's got California plates. Yeah, those cars are roach, but just the low miles and the pearl paint. I thought it'd be really fun, and I really just wanted to put a turd in your apple cart while I was away. So, anyway, no reserve auction, JP. This car's got an hour to go, and it only has 6 bids. It is up to $7,100. My bid is probably a little high because, again, I wasn't looking close at it, but I threw down $8,500, and for the sake of moving along, I'm going to leave my bid there.
What do you think, Lane?
Lane, where are you at?
I'm at 7,500. I don't know who buys this car. Like, why would you buy this car? I don't really understand it.
Where is it at now?
7,100 with less than an hour to go.
Yeah, I think it's DOA. I'm going to go 7,200. Go right underneath you. I don't think this thing goes anywhere. I do think that if this thing was not on a piece of crap car lot in the middle of Pennsylvania and someone took proper photos and detailed it correctly and had some fun with this thing and put it on Rad for Sale, I think it's a $9,000 or $10,000 car because those miles are very low. This car could actually bring some money for, even though it's a pile of crap. The low miles and the right platform sells this thing.
Yeah.
All
right. Let's take a look. Let's jump over to Bring a Trailer. JP, I also selected another car. We looked at one of these a couple of months ago, and I was fascinated to see how much you enjoyed looking at the photos of this 1973 Citroen SM with the Maserati motor in it. This is a 5-speed manual car. It's showing true mileage unknown. It's black on black in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. These cars are pretty rare in this country. The 3-liter Maserati V6 is the highest performing drivetrain. It makes about 175 horsepower and has over 200 pound-foot of torque. It's got 3 carburetors, triple carburetors, and a 5-speed manual transmission. These things were famous for having what they called a hydro-pneumatic suspension. This is a suspension that raises and lowers at speed, and they're a true 2+2. There are not 3 seatbelts or even 3 seats in the back of this car. There's 2 seats in the front, and there's 2 seats right behind them in the back. But this car, one of the things you can say about this car is it'll never be mistaken for anything else on the road. It doesn't look like any other car. And Citroen sold a boatload of these on the European continent. But the partnership with Maserati at the time spawned the motor, a Maserati motor, being pumped into one of these things. And this car is actually good for about 140 miles an hour on the Autobahn or the Autostrada. Or somewhere in Las Vegas, to be perfectly honest. You can crank this thing up and they go. I imagine they're a maintenance nightmare, and trying to find somebody who's proficient in French and Italian and really good and not a rip-off artist would be probably harder to find than finding a nice one of these. This one looks okay, but for some reason it is languishing here. So with an hour and a half to go, JP and Lane, our car is sitting at under $24,000. Nice ones of these will bring 80 grand, but this car does not look like it's primed to have that big a finish. So Lane, I'll send it to you, but JP, I picked this car for you. I know you like that gold one we looked at. How hot is the one in black?
Woo, this thing is pretty. Lane,
yeah,
what
this
do you think
thing's
of
rad. Dude, this is like, what JP, you call it, what, a gangster car or whatever?
Yeah,
A
bad guy car, yeah.
Imagine a French, gangster in this thing. This thing is badass, dude. The bad guy in, a 60s, Bond movie or
Hell
something.
yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
It's probably, I'm pretty sure it's been in a Bond movie, and they're not quick, but they are fast.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
it's like a Kubrick movie with 4 wheels. I mean, it's just it really is.
That's
It just
a great analogy.
look at this.
Great
Look
tip.
at the behind you. This billboard. I'll see if I can. I can't zoom it in. Oh wait, maybe I can. Here, I'm gonna hit this button. 411 Payne on the billboard right behind it. That's what you're going to be dealing with if you buy this. You are going to need to save that number, because as beautiful as this car is, it's going to cause a lot of heartache.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
My friend Paul Kramer at Auto Kennel had one for a few years. He actually just got rid of it recently.
That's
he loved that car. He drove it all around, and he had a Citroen Whisperer in LA. And I think you need that guy, right? You need the guy who's he's the SM expert, and he had him really close to where he lived. And I think to buy a car like this, you need to have that guy before you buy the car.
Yeah.
Maybe that guy retired, and that's why Paul sold the car.
Yeah.
Maybe. I know he made a trip up to Monterey Car Week the last time we had Monterey Car Week, and in it, and I remember it had both the windows wouldn't roll down when he left. And it had, some other things were going on, but these things are so cool. They're really cool looking. There's so many things to take pictures of, and it's just a really cool piece of art.
Michael Deeb, where's it going to sell? We got to move this along.
Absolutely.
We're going a little long, fellers.
JP, this car is not doing well here today, and I'm struggling to see it bring 40 grand. I'm going to say $40,000, but I'm not confident that it's going to get there. Again, the really nice ones are 80 grand. I just don't understand what the deal is that's holding this one back. I didn't read enough into it. So 40 grand to you, Lane.
It looked like it had a little rust, some undercoating weirdness in that one picture you guys you showed earlier. But I don't know. Just judging by where it's at right now, I I don't know. I think 32.
32.
Low.
Where is
Yeah,
it
there you
at?
go.
Where is it at right now?
It's a 24.
With how many hours?
1.5.
Oh wow,
Oh.
that's
Yeah.
okay. And how many bids we got on there? Yeah.
7.
All right. Deeb took 45, or did you take 40?
40.
Yeah, I'll go 45. I think it finds it in the final hour. I mean, it's BAT. If you guys get a chance to watch the video, the guy put a video up. He seems like a fun guy. I like the owner of this car. So, all right, let's move on to the next ride. It'll be interesting to see what that Citroen finds.
My favorite car of the day, and I'll be interested to see if you guys are familiar with it. This is a European 1979 Mercedes Benz 450 SLC 5-liter. Before, let's see, Mercedes had done the 6.3, the 300 SE 6.3, and that was a homologation special so that they could go sports car racing in Europe. And they famously raced that car against the BMW 3.0 CSLs. But Mercedes wanted to go rally racing, like we're talking the big, like, Paris-Dakar rallies, the big, like the Ivory Coast rally this car famously competed in. And what they did is they took their 450 SL and they made a coupe out of it, which is the SLC, and then they got away from the 4.5-liter V8 that had an iron block and put in the brand new 5-liter that had an aluminum block. And that's what this car here is. This is a European example, although this model was sold in the United States. They're just really hard to find. But it's just, I love homologation specials where the factory is putting in really kind of gently tricked stuff into their road cars so that they can have those parts on their racing cars. And that's what this version is. So it's got an aluminum block. It's got an aluminum bonnet and a few other little things that I'm failing to remember in this moment. But these cars are really rare. It's got the cloth interior, the little wing spoiler hanging off the back of this thing. Just a neat car. Now, this one is not one I'd want to own. I'm not a big fan of the color. I don't like the aftermarket chrome wings over the fenders. And I don't, even though the Penta wheels are kind of cool, or Renault wheels, whatever they are, they're not what I'd want on mine. But I think one of these things would be kind of fun to have. It'd be a really neat car to take on an event, and it's really, really comfortable. Before I send it over to you, Lane, just know that this car has a 3-speed automatic transmission, and that the 7 factory rally cars that won and placed in the highest division of the Ivory Coast Rally were equipped the same way. They ran this car with a 3-speed automatic because it was the most reliable and kind of the simplest version of the gearbox to use, even for those, month-long rallies that this car competed in back in period. So, Lane, anyway, any familiarity with this car? Do you know this one?
Tons of familiarity. So, yeah, they never brought the 500s to the States, actually. So.
Oh, they never did. So everyone that's here is a gray market car.
Yeah, they're all gray
great
market. We had 450s, 380s, all those. But yeah, we never got the 500. So this is forbidden fruit for us, and this is the AMG pre-AMG. This is their big engine, and these are really special cars. We've at my old place, we had a couple 500. They were convertible SLs, but and then we had a bunch of like Euro 450s and all, like, so I have tons of time in these, and we had a couple with 4-speed manuals and all that stuff. But this one, I don't know. It's a little weird. It has that weird 5-liter badge on the back, which
that's
there.
Correct. That's correct.
No, it said 500 on the left. It wouldn't have the 5.0 on the right-hand side of the rear.
Yeah, that's where it goes. That's the note that it's not a 4.5-liter motor.
No, 500 means that on the left. It wouldn't have the 5.0-liter badge. That's like off of a later car or something.
No, that's what this model is. This is the SLC 5-liter, which is the
no, it's an SLC 500. It's a 500 SLC.
No, it's a 450 SLC with a 5.0.
Well, anyways, yeah. So it, the Renault Pentas, big Pentas. I don't know. It's not in the greatest shape, and SLCs tend to not get as much money as SLs either.
Oh, not at all. This car gets no love.
Imagine an SLC, a 500 SLC is a pretty rare one, or even rarer than a 500 SL. So yeah, it's not in the greatest condition or anything, but it looks like it has the headlights are intact, the bumpers, all the good stuff's there. The fender spats tend to hide a lot of rust, so you have to, but you can take those off really easily and check. I'm surprised they haven't done that.
Those silver fender flares, Deeb, you said are aftermarket. Now I can't say.
No, they're factory.
I've seen. They're on like every one I've ever seen. It seems like, but I don't know.
So
I'm not an expert.
Really
on these
popular option.
Was it an option? Maybe
most cars have them, but you can take them off. It's like I think it's like 2 screws. I've taken them off several cars.
Are they usually really corroded underneath them? Do they collect water and stuff?
It happens a lot, but
yeah.
With a California cars, they tend to be all right. But you never know. It definitely hides a lot.
That sure seems like an American option to put the chrome, trim on there.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything
but
for
it's a
performance.
European.
Like, what's the point? Yeah, it's really weird.
And it doesn't actually flare them or anything. It's just like decorative.
They're just caps. Yeah.
Super
like
decorative,
veneers on an aging actor or something like that. All right, where do we think this car is going to land, guys? $19,000 with only 3 bids, 3.5 hours.
I know it's not getting any love.
Easy.
I think this car is going to bring $26,000. And again, this 5-liter is a bit of a jewel. 240 horsepower, 300 pound-foot of torque, running through a limited slip differential. This car is offered out of St. Louis, Missouri. It's true mileage unknown. But it'd be neat if somebody bought this car and spent a little money to clean it up and bring it back. These were really special homologation cars. The 450 SLC 5-liter rally car from the European continent. Neat car. Lane, where you at?
I don't know. I've been out of this market for a while. They used to be a lot cheaper.
I'm
going to say.
So true.
Really?
Dude, we bought like 30 SLs and all these kind of stuff. Like I had so many of these come through and drove a million of them, and we actually sold Euro bumper conversion kits for these tan headlights and wheels, and we made wheels for them, all kinds of stuff. But anyways,
where's it gonna land, Lane?
I would say 23.
23. All right. I'm gonna split right between you guys. Go 24, I guess, since you said 26, right, Deeb?
Yep.
All right. And that's pure guess. I don't have any idea if these have a following or not. It just doesn't seem like there's very many bids. What's the last car of the day? It's an E36. Wow, are these gonna make a big deal?
JP, this car is also just for you. Metallic black, right? Cosmos black metallic with black Vader leather seats. This is a 98 M3 Coupe with a 5-speed manual showing just 78,000 miles out of Walpole, Massachusetts. Tons has been written about this car. I don't need to play this car up. I would imagine every one of our viewers is familiar with the E36 M3. This is a really nice coupe in really nice condition with the seats that everybody wants in a very desirable color. The big thing is our car's got 4.5 hours to go. It's in the middle of it's in Massachusetts, which is not a good thing for it. And it's sitting at under $15,000 on just 15 bids. So it's at 14 and change. The question is whether or not this car is going to break 20 grand. What do you think, Lane? You like this one or no?
No, they're cool. They're like I always say they're like the perfect rally car for going on rallies, like the Coastal Range Rally and stuff. It's like this and a 964 fitting that perfect power to weight ratio and stuff. And they're cool. They have the weirdest driving position of any German car ever, but you can get past that. They're pretty neat.
How many miles does this one have on it?
78,000.
78,000. That's pretty darn low miles for an E36. And these Vaders, are, kind of like that E28 that we were talking about yesterday, where you were saying the seats kind of roach out. Usually these Vaders look terrible. And at least these are black. Have you ever seen the Dove ones? Those just look terrible with 10,000 miles on them. These look really, really good. I'm shocked how good these look with a little bit of bolster wear, but so what?
How are the door panels and is the glove box sagging?
Let's see if we can get to that. That's a good question.
Those are like important things with these. Door panels like delamp, the leather or the vinyl comes undone from
especially from humid climates like the Midwest and the South. Yeah, actually looks pretty
not bad. Yeah,
not
pretty
bad.
Good.
Yeah. The door panels look pretty good. Hey, it still has the little BMW flashlight in the glove box. That's pretty rare. I think one of the greatest cars of all time, particularly because they're not very expensive usually. But now that may be a change. And Deeb, where do you think this is going to land?
I'm going to say $22,000. Lane, where you at?
Oh, man. It does have low miles, but I don't know. The the pictures aren't doing it for me, dude. It's
Yeah.
It's terrible.
all blown out and shit. And like,
Yeah.
I think if it had good pictures, maybe you'd get there. But I'm gonna go 18.5.
All right. Good
Yeah,
guess.
this thing is on. We've got a bunch of used cars today. This one looks like it's being sold by a Honda dealer or something like that. Literally, you can see in the back.
Like,
Yeah, it's like, why is there still junk on here? Why didn't they get?
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird that they wouldn't get rid of these kind of some personal stuff. What the heck is this little thing on the? Yeah, I mean, clean the car first. If it's just used car, at least get the lot porter to clean it out before you go snap pictures with your, iPhone 8 or whatever the hell they were using for this thing. This is just looks like a little headliner issues, but again, pretty
they
common
all
on these.
do.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is that we say they all do. Oh God, the kiss of death.
Oh, man. I take my bid back, dude. It's like
A child owned this car. That is with the wiring and everything like that. That's seriously going to hurt this car. And wow, it looks like it's got like some kind of clear power protected. I think that's a sticker. This car sucks.
But that's
all right. What's that?
Yeah, I don't know. Massachusetts too. Let's see some underside shots.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to those. What your number was? What Lane?
18? I was
what? Deeb was go ahead. Deeb.
I was 22 and Lane was 18.5.
And where's it at now?
14.5 with 4 hours to go.
I changed mine, by the way.
I'll let you change it, Lane. Where are you at?
I'm at 17. 17.
17
even?
All right, I'll take your old bid. I'll go 18. The underside looks okay. It is BAT, and these are hard to find. It really, really, really sucks that some stupid kid had a boom box in the back. And if you're selling this at the Honda dealership or the Buick dealership or whatever the heck this is, they should have yanked that stereo out of the back before they took a single picture of it, because that just makes me go, ugh, I don't want this car anymore. I'm bidding because I think E36 M3s are hard to find in a black on black one, a late model. I do love the M stitching on the steering wheel and the late model wheel. Yeah. This is kind of the best one of the E36s if you're going to do it, other than like a CS or something like that. But all right, there it is. That's all the cars of the day. Lane, did you have something else you wanted to say about that car before we dip out?
No, I'm good. I'm fine.
He's like, nah.
I had one for a week, like a month ago. I borrowed one from a friend, and I didn't love it as much as I remembered loving them. It was weird. It was kind of like I almost fell out of love with them, and I always kind of wanted to get one, but yeah.
I think it's going to be tough to get. I mean, you really pooped it. What did you say yesterday? You're like, BMW doesn't make sports cars. They just make sedans that are sporty.
That's definitely not a sports car. Yeah. Drive that thing and then go drive go drive a 944 after that. It feels like the 944 feels like such a slot car compared to that thing.
It's true. All right. Well, there it is, guys. A bunch of experts and me telling you about the most interesting cars of the day on Cars and Bids. Bring a Trailer, P-Car Market, and Rad For Sale. My name is John Polnik, along with my partner Michael Deeb over there. He's on vacation. That's Vacation Deeb. He's got his Belloc hat on.
Wrap it up, man. I gotta go order a drink. Will you?
He's got pina coladas stacking up from room service. Lane Skelton, plug the things before we go.
Check out Radwood coming up NorCal on July 10th. We also have more shows coming up. Seattle outside of Seattle at Dirtfish School. We're going to have a Radwood there. We're going to have one in LA in November and more to come. Philly, hopefully. Road America, maybe. So, yeah, bunch of stuff coming up.
We got Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin.
Yeah. Check out radforsale.com and drivingwhilewasome.com.
We got to talk to you, Lane, about having a Radwood section at Vegas Auto Fest coming up on September 18th.
Let's do it.
So let's make that happen. All right, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. Deep, go have a vacation. We will see you guys tomorrow. We do this every Monday through Friday at 9 o'clock.
Lane, are you on the show tomorrow?
I don't know.
You want to be on the show tomorrow? You want to do
it? Sure, let's do it. Let's see how bad I get today.
All right, this is fun. We're third nerding all week. All right, guys. We'll catch you tomorrow. Tune in for Lane Skelton. He's going to be back.
Get those nerds!